All right, and we're back with Alkawther Makki, who has two books that she wants to talk about today. One's called Smarter, Cleaner, Leaner, and the other is called Unspoken Revivalism. And I'm really excited to talk about these books. They're very different from each other, and it's also good to hear from a more seasoned author. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me. I'm pleased to be here.
Yeah, so what room are you in right now? From what I can see, there's a punching bag, there's some lights in there, but it's like a mostly empty space, and I'm just wondering, for the viewers who are also probably wondering, what's this room that you're in?
Yeah, so, I have Rocky in that corner, and then I have, I think, one of the greatest philosophers, Bruce Lee, in the other corner. And when all three of us are in the same room, that's where innovation happens.
Sounds terrifying, but also really interesting for someone to look into and watch.
Right. Bruce Lee tries to get into, his opponent's mind. So when I'm in here, Bruce Lee is someone that really, I have a lot in common with Bruce Lee, really. Just like his philosophy and the way he thinks. And I noticed this when I was growing up, and his philosophy, and I was like, wow, this is really the way that I think, and this is awesome. And he's like born on November 27th, and I'm like on November 25th. So, the stars speak.
Let's start with some general questions. People tend to have an evolution to their lives until they get to the point where they put pen to paper. Are you sort of a career writer, or did you sort of find your way into writing?
I believe that I found my way into writing, especially because I struggled to read and write as a child. So I was secluded in a separate room away from my peers. And it was a constant struggle, and I was desperately trying to understand how to read and write. But my mind would rather wander off, and I was kind of more concerned about forms and substances and textures, and I was fascinated with nature, and I wanted to analyze my surroundings. So I wanted to really combine. I wanted to understand what the world was all about. I wanted to understand what I couldn't see. And for me, I think that's why I was kind of detached. But when I learned to read and write, it wasn't just a milestone to overcome. It became this journey of pleasure and pain, combining the unseen world with the reality that I live in. And so I approached concepts differently. In that sense, I wanted to find light from the darkness, and I wanted to challenge myself. And it's kind of like the way that you approach a math problem. Math problem can be solved perhaps in 100 different ways, and that's kind of the same approach that I have with writing. I like to combine substances that don't really mix together. For example, if you have oil and water and you mix them together, it creates this graphic presentation, and then that substance becomes much more vivid. That's kind of how my writing is as well.
I caught a few philosophical terms in there, like substance. Actually reminds me of some Aristotle I've read some very many years ago. And I understand from reading a bit of the reviews that you take a bit of a philosophical perspective to your writing.
Yes, I do. I write different philosophies, and it kind of goes hand in hand with and this is something that really is coincidental. I didn't really learn about Aristotle and Plato and those profound philosophers until later on. And when I read about them and their philosophies, I thought, wow, this is really very common and similar to those beliefs that I have. So those are philosophers that also inspire me.
What made you want to write that second book after writing the first one?
So originally I published Unspoken Revivalism in 2012. And, it was my first book. I created the prototype. It's right behind me. You can see it. And this book, I put so much energy into this book because it wasn't just about creating a book or publishing a book or even just becoming an author. It was so meaningful to me because I'm someone that struggled to read and write, and I wanted every part of Unspoken Revivalism to be my hard work. And I also wanted it to be educational. So after completing Unspoken Revivalism, you're a first-time author and you kind of just want to test the waters and things like that. But I'm a very health-conscious person, and I've always been into sports and into health and things like that. And I kind of like to test my surroundings and endeavor into, different multitude of different things just to better my life and my surroundings and contribute to society. But I would say I republished Unspoken Revivalism just last year. I kind of added a few more words to it, and I did some additional editing. So I took time off, and I was having kids. And when you have kids, you think you're actually become more health conscious. And so that was something that interested me, and I started to research. And I was actually battling health ailments myself, and I was looking for answers. So that was the journey I embarked on. I became a health researcher, and I started experiencing with different foods and trying to see what really worked, because I gained a tremendous amount of weight. I had high cholesterol, my A1C was up. I was just all over the place. And sometimes when you have kids, you really don't have time for yourself. But this was also something that was really important to me. My health, the health of my children. And so I set out to find answers, and I approached my health in a more holistic way. And for me, that really worked. And Smarter, Cleaner, Leaner was born, and it's something that is different than the mainstream.
I know that on your website that you say that you're currently studying, and I was just wondering, what are you studying?
I've been a student at the University of Michigan for a few years now. I've been studying business administration. However, I've taken this semester off kind of to help my children with the virtual learning. And it's also given me an opportunity to reform my priorities and kind of delve deeper into my interests. I'm someone that really appreciates truth, ethics, humanity, justice. I'm someone that likes to run in the face of darkness, challenge myself, and find light and make a change. So criminal justice is something that I might be endeavoring into. It's the journey that I might embark on.
Yeah, that's really fascinating, the diversity of interests that you have. Is there any way in which your studies inform your writing at all, or are they sort of different worlds for you? You sort of write on the side, and your studies are one thing and your writing's another? For
the most part, they are kind of separate, but I am a multifaceted writer. I don't just write about poetry or health. So if for example, I've taken philosophy, and you become a more creative writer, and you learn new ideas. So sometimes those ideas, like kind of learning about Aristotle and Plato, those can actually really enhance my writing and kind of really make me think in a more logical way, and that kind of spurs innovation, and it makes me want to create something that nobody really has created.
Yeah, I completely resonate with that. Me, myself, I'm a filmmaker as well, and one thing I really love about having an eclectic set of interests is that things cross over in a much more complicated way. Things tend to resemble life more when you incorporate, the logical level, and for me that's actually a big thing too. Incorporating philosophy into my work as a screenwriter and director.
Right, you can use philosophy in every single way, really. For example, with Smarter, Cleaner, Leaner, it has a philosophy to it. And it's just a different approach. So, talking about thinking logically and philosophy, Smarter, Cleaner, Leaner brings a new philosophy, and that's why it stands out from the rest. It's not just another diet book. It's not just another health book. There is a key factor into what Smarter, Cleaner, Leaner represents, and that is the key to really making a lifelong change and maintaining change and enhancing your life and your surroundings around you. So philosophy has helped me create Smarter, Cleaner, Leaner.
Both in the reviews and in the description, I noticed that you mention the idea of feeding your brain. And what does that mean without, going into too much detail, because we want to read about it in your book. But yeah, what do you mean by that, and how does that inform the whole work?
Right. Smarter, Cleaner, Leaner is brain health conscientious. And what that means is really tackling your health and your weight loss goals in a different approach. You have to think in terms of the health of your brain, your mental health, the health of your organs, the health of how you feel inside, opposed to what you see from the outside. And just because you are toned, just because you are thin, just because you are muscular, it doesn't mean that you are well inside. It doesn't mean that your organs are functioning properly. It doesn't mean that you have mental clarity. So the Smarter, Cleaner, Leaner approach, the superhuman approach, focuses on enhancing the quality of your life from the inside, opposed to what you just see from the outside. And that is the right approach. So a lot of people are failing at, are failing at their weight loss goals and feeling better inside because they are led into the wrong direction. They really don't understand. They don't have the right answers. They have been essentially manipulated and lied to by the mainstream media, and this is really all that they know. So Smarter, Cleaner, Leaner provides facts and resources and tools to get you thinking in the superhuman approach.
Yeah, for sure. And it seems as though it's been resonating. I saw someone mention that it's sort of helped them get rid of their quote-unquote brain fog. And I think seeing the results of what you write is very helpful for your mentality as a writer too. It's very encouraging to realize that what you're doing is actually helping people. Have you been getting feedback like that?
Yes, the feedback is tremendous. And it's not just brain fog, but for the most part, brain fog is really important because Smarter, Cleaner, Leaner incorporates foods that are high in monounsaturated fats, foods that are high in nitrates, essential nutrients, and amino acids. And these are foods that enhance and benefit your organs in your mind. So I would say that at least 90% of people look at nutrition facts. And that is the wrong approach. You need to look at ingredients. You need to read the ingredients because those ingredients will determine what nutrients you are receiving, what you're putting in your body, if you're feeding your brain and not your stomach. And that will enhance your transformation. So, for example, if you're going to eat a protein bar and have a protein shake, this is kind of like a meal replacement. And for the most part, it's about, protein intake. And it shouldn't be about protein intake or even, maintaining carbohydrates or sugars. It's about the ingredients that go into that. And most of these types of foods and products are empty on essential fats, nutrients, and amino acids, which are crucial into making, your transformation happen.
I think that consumers can get very confused with all the information they get from nutrition labels, but also from their local news segments, things they read online, advertisements that they get from companies, and it can become like a big conflagration of noise. And I think sometimes people get disillusioned with whether they can know how to help themselves.
Because they go through the cycle of, it's almost like desperation. They just they finally want to find the right answers, and they're constantly asking themselves, maybe this is the right answer, maybe this is the right answer, you know. But sometimes it's another health trend, and people can get lost in another health trend. And a lot of these companies, businesses, even doctors, I would say, are in the business of monetizing. And then they want to create products according to the trend that's going on right now. And then again, they focus on nutrition facts. They don't focus on the ingredients, and that's what's important. So they need to be able to understand. They have to have the right goals. And really, that's what sets Smarter, Cleaner, Leaner apart from any other book, because Smarter, Cleaner, Leaner is not a diet. It's a lifestyle change. And you will want to maintain that lifestyle change because you now finally have the answers. It doesn't give you any manipulation or anything that's falsified. It's pure facts, pure experience from someone that's really gone through what they were going through. You know, I was that someone looking for answers for years. And I've tried everything. I've tried pills, I've tried exercising, I've tried health trends, and that's not what it's about. You really need to read labels. You need to read the right label. You need to read the ingredients. That's what matters most.
Yeah, no, it sounds like it's working very well. It sounds like it's worked well for you, and it sounds like it's worked well for your audience. And I'm really excited to see how it gets received going forward. And I hope that, you continue to help people.
There is no doubt that my book is going to receive controversy. And you know what? I'll take it. I'm proud of my book. I know that it works. And it's going to receive controversy because this is far more different than anything you have ever read. It's far more different than any structure that you have really ever seen. And for example, not all things organic or paleo or keto, those things are great, and I apply them to my book, but not all of those foods that are paleo, keto, organic are really healthy for you. So they still sometimes have ingredients that are not superhuman approved.
Yeah, I love it. Dive into the controversy. I think that's when we can be confident that you mean what you say, when you're willing to stand up against the criticism and know that you want the best for your reader instead of trying to take something from them, which a lot of people do.
Right. It's not a product that I've created. I am in the reality of truly helping other people, because helping other people enhances my surroundings as well. Okay. And there's so many products out there, and you're not going to take a pill with my book. Exercise is important, but it's not primary, it's secondary. And you're not going to starve yourself. You're not going to count calories even. So you are going to see health in a different light, and you're going to enjoy health. You're going to enjoy health foods. You're going to understand what real food is.
What was the experience like getting this book published versus your prior book? Were there any differences? Did you learn any lessons?
So going from Unspoken Revivalism to Smarter, Cleaner, Leaner has really widened the industry, the writing industry for me. And I found that I am really eager to learn new things, because I don't know everything, but I want to learn new things. I'm very curious. And I'm someone that likes to write about really everything that surrounds me, to enhance and contribute to society. So I'm eager to delve into different genres and just really experience life in every single way, and write about beauty, find beauty in all things, apply negativity and positivity, and bring it together to create an innovation. And that's how my writing style has become, combining things that are really unrelative to each other. And that's kind of, I'm a multifaceted writer, so I am open to the idea of writing about different things.
Sounds like it. And speaking of that, I just wanted to ask you a few questions about your previous book. And I know that you said at the top that you incorporate a lot of different styles, a lot of different sources of information, and a lot of things inform your writing. And I really did notice that in the way your first book is constructed. I noticed that there's poetry. I noticed that there's philosophy, but I was really surprised to notice that there was illustration as well. How did you come upon the composition of that book versus, let's say, just writing a straightforward novel? How did you come across that mixture of medium?
Right. So, Unspoken Revivalism, its mission is to educate. And I wanted Unspoken Revivalism to be a challenge. So it has an extensive vocabulary. And these illustrations, what they do is they help the reader find hidden messages. So they can really understand, the extensive vocabulary. And it, enhances their cognitive thinking, spurs new lines of communication, and it kind of helps them relate to their own emotions and own experiences in life. And I think that's very important.
It's definitely something that I'm interested in also as an artist as well, is seeing how all those things sort of mix together. It's always beautiful when they do come together, instead of being like a bad crossover album of pop artists, but instead of being that, it being something so impactful that people are reaching out to you and saying, look, this is transcending the mediums and it's becoming something that's changing my life, which is definitely something I've noticed.
Right, it truly relates to other people's emotions, because figures of speech, and that's why poetry is so significant. Philosophy is so important, because the figures of speech, the similes, the metaphors, the oxymorons, the irony, the personification, it just brings a different feel, and it truly enhances people's lives, and it really helps them with creativity. It helps them in their personal lives, as well as their professional lives.
Yeah, and outside of writing, what sort of things do you do in your free time, other than being a mother?
Other than being a mother, I am a full-time innovator. I like to really just test everything around me. I'm very active. I run 20 to 40 miles a week. And when I'm not running, I'm in this lovely sanctuary, hitting the bag, creating negatives into positives, and sometimes even relaying that negative energy back to where it came from. And I also, I'm not just an author. I compose career portfolios. I write music lyrics. So I'm constantly doing something. I'm constantly creating something. And, that's how I live my life. I'm constantly making a change. I'm constantly trying to better my surroundings. I wanted to contribute to society in every single way.
Yeah, so you mentioned that you had a little bit of difficulty growing up about, learning and fitting in. And I was wondering, if you could go into those experiences more, because that's a very common experience. And a lot of people find it hard to come back from that and, feel confident again. And I was wondering, what your journey was like with that.
I absolutely did not fit in growing up. And honestly, I didn't really care to fit in. I kind of just wanted to do my own thing, but there was a lot of negativity surrounding me. As far as I didn't know, I struggled to read and write, and and then I had to have this kind of strength, and I really showed the strength in sports. So I was like a big tomboy, and everyone knew it, and everyone could see it, and I loved wearing boy shirts. I loved wearing boy shoes, and so I was really bullied. I was called names all the time. I didn't really care. I didn't care to really fit in. I kind of really had my own unique style, and if someone didn't really like it, that was kind of too bad for them. So it was hurtful, but it was kind of hurtful to a degree, because it was that type of negative energy where you kind of decide what you want to do with that negative energy. And I really let that negative energy empower me. And I remember this one time, I was in 6th grade, and this was kind of in the beginning of the school year. And I was on the bus, and then I had these 2 8th graders. These girls, they would always call me names. You dress like a boy. Why do you dress like a boy? You're a boy. And I would just ignore them and things like that. But there was this one day where there was so much talk, and everyone was talking about a fight on the bus. And I'm like, what is going on? And then my friend comes over to me and she says, those 2 8th graders, they're planning to jump you when you get off the bus.
Oh my.
And we're going to get off the bus right in front of my house. That's where the bus stop was, right in front of my house. So I was thinking, I wasn't even afraid. I was like really thinking 2-on-1, this should be fun. I'm not even kidding. But I'm not someone that ever really wanted to start a fight with anyone. I truly believe in defending yourself. I truly believe you should absolutely defend yourself. So I remember kind of walking, down the bus, and they were behind me. But I walked out, and one pushes me, the other one pushes me, and then something inside of me was just kind of like unleashed. And then from that point on, I'm like, it's on. It's on. And, these girls were twice my size. And then the fight started. I want to say I defended myself. But this is what happened. I don't want to get too graphic. But the next day, I went to school and I was called down to the principal's office. He called me down and he said, Miss Makki, what happened yesterday? Was there a fight? And I said, yes. He's like, I had 2 girls in here crying their eyes out. One was on crutches. She could not walk. Right. And he said they were crying because they were in so much pain that you beat them up. And he's like, why would you do something like that? Why would you beat up 2 girls? And I said, his name was Mr. Patterson. I said, Mr. Patterson, do you absolutely think someone my size would want to pick on 2 8th graders that are twice my size? And he said, well, I don't see that you're hurt. He's like, you're absolutely not hurt. Nothing's wrong with you. I said, well, are you telling me that I shouldn't defend myself? He said, Miss Makki, what do you do? Do you play karate? And I said, I absolutely do not play karate. I said, but what I do, I said, I can run faster than any boy in the school. And that's what my response was to him. I was kind of like a little cocky 6th grader. I said, I can run faster than any boy here. And he was just kind of like baffled. He's like, okay, I understand. Just go back to class. So, I wasn't like, I didn't care about being like others. I wasn't like a popular person, but I kind of became like, wow, she's really tough. We don't want to mess with her. What is she about? And I really cared about just being me, And that's kind of like really how you have to approach life. You don't have to follow what everyone else does. Do what you love. Be who you are. And don't be afraid to really step outside and do something different. Create something different. But I will say, always defend yourself.
For sure. Yeah, that's a good lesson. Yeah, for sure. Now that 2020 is ending and 2021 is upon us, and for a lot of people that means hopefully a better year. What are your plans going forward into 2021?
2021 is a year full of surprises and excitement. And I am really excited for the year 2021 because I have something special for my readers and my audience. I'll give you a little hint. I'm actually on book number 3, book number 4, and book number 5 simultaneously, and they're all in different genres. So I truly believe that each one of my books will provide something really important. It will be something that people can really use in their personal lives and their professional lives, and this will bring a new excitement having 5 different books in different genres. It's going to be a collection of innovation that people can really use to better enhance their lives. Even though those works are not maybe poetic, but I would say that the titles kind of have a play on words. So it's really interesting, it's really interesting. And one of the books will accommodate the health book, Smarter, Cleaner, Leaner. It will be a recipe book. And the other one is going to be a thriller, and a very mysterious thriller.
Yeah, I'm excited. But in the meantime, while we're waiting for those books to come into fruition, where could we pick up your 2 existing books if we wanted to read them?
You can find Unspoken Revivalism and Smarter, Cleaner, Leaner on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, on my personal website, alkawthermotivation.com. That's ALKAWTHERMOTIVATION.com.
You sort of convinced me to pick up my own copies, and I'm really excited for the future that you have ahead of you. And I thank you so much for talking about your experiences, from your personal experiences to your experience writing, and also giving us a good glimpse at what your work has produced in your books. And I'm sure that our audience will appreciate it.
These books are going to be really life changers, especially going into the new year. If you have a New Year's resolution, definitely pick up Smarter, Cleaner, Leaner, because it's not going to be a temporary resolution. It's going to be a New Year's resolution that you're really going to keep for as long as you live.
Thank you for stopping by, watching this. And I just ask that you check out her website, check out her books, and we'll see you later.
Thank you for having me. This was a wonderful experience. Have a blessed day.